3, 2, 1.
Damn. I was like, he's brought the production value up here, but no.
What?
God damn.
What? How dare you? Okay. Australia's worse off on the world stage by the fact this guy is on the Spotify charts, I tell you. It was going so well. I had such high hopes for you.
I'm gonna pass over to Dennis. You're an engineer.
I felt the spirit. I wouldn't be surprised if I got this off someone off the street selling their CD for like £5. How do I stop it?
This is crazy. Hello and welcome to the Record Players podcast. My name is Harry. I'm joined by Jack and Dennis again. So today we're going to review an album or an EP that's just come out. So we're reviewing the Scary Hours 2 EP by Drake. So like I said, this got released on March the 5th. Now, as far as I'm aware, I think it's a prelude EP to a full album that I think he's going to be releasing later this year. So I guess a little snapshot of that. So it's 3 tracks, really short, nice and sweet. But yeah, let's get into it. So I mean, just to start, I mean, generally, I'm a casual Drake fan. I like the odd couple of tracks, the album here or there. I think with this one, it's not necessarily playing to his biggest strengths, but it's not his biggest weakness. It's quite a kind of rap heavy album, which I think is cool. I like the features on it. It's not necessarily like as diverse as I was hoping. I quite like Drake kind of doing like his R&B thing as well, which I think was a bit missing. I think if you're going to give a little taster EP, it might have been nice to have a kind of soulful R&B singing track. I don't know if you guys would feel the same about that, but I think what was there was of a decent quality for me.
I think this was not showing him to his strengths, but I'm not the biggest Drake fan anyway.
I know you're not a fan.
Yeah.
What would you say would have been the strengths that he could play to? Say to just jump into your immediate first thoughts.
I think for me, it's the balance between like you're saying, like the rapping and features. I think doesn't put him in the best light because we'll get to it a little later on. But
yeah,
Rick Ross starting a track and then Drake picking it up, but Drake's rapping as well.
Yeah.
Dude just gets blown out of the water, and it's like...
As in you think Rick Ross outshined
Yeah, and I'm
Drake.
not a big Rick Ross fan either.
Yeah.
But like...
Well, I have a very different opinion on that for a specific reason, but we'll get into it and we'll go through each track in turn. And Dennis, again, just a couple of immediate thoughts that come to your mind before we dip into the tracks. How was this project for you?
Kind of... I'm not the biggest Drake fan either, but because this EP is so short, I took the chance to go back through Drake's back catalogue and give Drake a chance. I had given him a chance once before, a long time ago. My brother
he needs it.
Yeah, definitely. He needs the fans, doesn't he?
Yeah. Poor man, he needs more streams.
Yeah, my brother recommended what Views, I think it is.
Really?
Yeah, he's kind of into the pop side.
Yeah, that's not what I would have said.
Yeah,
there's a line about that album on this EP that I want to talk about when we get to that song.
Go for it. But I thought Views was kind of boring. I wasn't really into it.
That's a bad take, man, from your bro.
So I went online, I looked for some recommendations. People recommended Take Care, so I got Take Care. Really, really liked it. And I was like, what is Drake? Because I was like, is he pop? Is he R&B? Is he a rapper? Where does he actually fit in? And I think he fits in everywhere, to be honest. I think
I was going to say one of the reasons why he's been on top for so long. I know a lot of people call him like a culture vulture, and he kind of uses lots of different things that are like hyped at the moment, different styles. But I think that's what's led to him being successful. Like not refusing to kind of pigeonhole and be like, I'm just the rapper, I'm just the singer. I say you got to give props for that.
Yeah, and going back to your, sorry, Jack, will go back to you in a sec, but going back to your thing of R&B tracks, like some of the R&B tracks I found were some of the best, like Marvin's Room off of Take Care, which has this piano bit from a guy called Chili Gonzalez, who coincidentally also played another track called From Time off of Nothing Was the Same, which is the same sort of vibe.
As a side note, Nothing Was the Same would be my favorite project, so I would recommend listening to that.
I listened to a few tracks on that. It's more like rap heavy and fewer collaborations as well, which I find there's so many collaborations on his albums that it gets a bit distracting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, with this, there's the 2 features on a 3-track EP, so it is quite feature dominant. I tell you what, let's get into the tracks turn by turn. So, starting off with the first track, What's Next? For me, this was probably the weakest track, and I didn't think it was necessarily the best place to start the EP off. I thought the main synth loop, the kind of video gamey synth loop, was decent. It was an enjoyable sound, but it kind of wore off its welcome quite quick, because that was the whole song. There was no extra flourishes. It was literally that and the 808. Kick and bass, and the Drake's verses were decent, but the chorus was trash. I mean, there was a line in it where he was like, what's it? New Year's Day, all I did was stretch. Okay, Valentine's Day, I had sex. Okay, and I was cringing. I was cringing hard at that. So it didn't start off to a great start. Probably my least favorite track. But
cringing is my most common reaction to Drake. By the way,
yeah. Well,
I get that, like, he's got his fingers in many pies, and however you want to sell it. Yeah, like, he's been very successful. He's made a lot of money. A lot of people like him. The dude is the cringiest guy in the world. He is the epitome of a jack of all trades and master of none.
Yeah,
but
I would agree. It's difficult, because there were bars across the EP that I was like, oh, that's sick, that's a quotable line, and I do this always, but yeah, there's always that cringe element that you can't avoid on every album I've listened to. So I mean, what did you guys think of What's Next? Is it a good start or a bad start?
I like the chorus, and going back to the cringe side of things, it just gave me flashbacks of listening to Hotline Bling. I don't think I will ever listen to that track again.
Dude, the Wii remix of that, though. The Wii Shop Music remix of Hotline Bling is banging, genuinely.
I haven't heard it. I've only heard the original.
I'll link you after this.
That music video will go down in time as meme history, though. It's done its justice for the culture.
I was gonna say that's another thing that's he's been really successful outside of music, and I think that's fed into him being successful in music more so than with other artists.
So what do you guys think of this track? Well, I know, Dennis, you said you were okay on it. Jack, what about you on this one?
It was pretty weak. It's got the same like we've been saying a couple of times, it's got 2 sections of it where it just has, he's written a 1-line formula, and then he's written that line 8 times in a row. So
I appreciate verse here.
Well, no, talking so the refrain, I've been making a change today, the liquor been taking the pain away, taking a chain away. He rhymes away with away 3 times. And he does the same thing with okay in the chorus, and I get the word before it rhymes as well, but that's not super clever.
No.
Do you know what I mean? He's not doing some MF Doom. The middle of this bar rhymes with the end of this bar, and both of them rhyme with the end of the 4 bar. He's not mixing it up that way. He's literally got a rhyme and stuck the word okay at the end of it.
Yeah.
And then got a rhyme and stuck the word away at the end of it.
I think with those kind of things, he often he's going to go for the kind of simple things that will just stick in your head, even if they're not. There's no real complexity, but it's almost again, it's like a formula for generating something that people will remember. And and again, it comes back to kind of meme culture. He'll have these things where it's a simple idea, and it's just it gets in your head.
It seems like my impression of him, and I've not done the deepest dives. I could be wrong,
sure.
Whatever. But my takeaway from him has always been he seems like an artist who's afraid of pushing people away. He obviously wants to stand out because he wants to be successful, but he doesn't have a hugely artistic drive that he needs to follow, and he doesn't care if people don't like it or not. It seems like he wants to make music that people like, which is a fine approach and all this sort of stuff. But it's not what I would look for when I go to an artist, and
sure.
Especially someone who's got that level of clout. I'm looking for wordsmiths. I'm looking for high skills. But I will say he's got a good ear, or whoever he works with is got their ear to the ground, because the production on this album was sick. Even this track, which was quite lyrically weak, the beat of it is a perfectly acceptable beat. They're all a bit trappy. They're all they're none of them are super crazy out there Flying Lotus type stuff, but yeah, they're all like passable beats mixed well, good sound choices.
I agree. I was going to say that's one of his strengths. I know he works with a few producers regularly, like he has like in-house producers that he's cool with throughout his career, and I think he works. They craft the beats that fit him, his style. And while you're right, it's not necessarily like deviating too much to be a risk. They'll get a beat that fits him, and he'll know what to say on it to work. So it's definitely a formula. It's a formula that's obviously worked really well.
Yeah, there's one producer who's like worked on the majority of his songs.
Yeah, 40 and Boy Wonder, I think, are the two that produce the majority of the track. I think 40 does more of his kind of the slower track. I think he's on the last track, Lemon Pepper Freestyle.
The second one, Wants and Needs.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, but I know 40 generally has the more atmospheric production style for Drake, and then Boy Wonder, he does more of the heavy tracks, like Started From the Bottom, the more kind of heavier tracks in general from what I've seen. Okay, well let's move on to track 2. So Wants and Needs featuring Lil Baby. This guy's a terrible name, man. I vaguely must have seen this before, but I think this is my first time hearing him.
No, but, he was on was it Megan Thee Stallion? He was on.
No,
Baby. Da Baby, yeah.
It wasn't that dude. Oh, yes. Okay.
What's a worse name, Da Baby or Lil Baby? What's your thoughts?
Da Baby is just cringe.
Da Baby, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think like post Wayne, 95% of the Lil names are fucking stupid.
I agree. Yeah.
Even Lil Wayne isn't a fantastic name, but it's just like he owns it. Like that's his brand.
Yeah.
But like
Lil Jon. Does Lil Jon precede Lil Wayne?
Well, I guess that's the thing. So there's first wave Lils that are acceptable, and now Lils are just it's just horrible.
Yeah.
But I mean, onto the actual track itself. I mean, I thought instrumentally this was a lot more interesting than the first track. There was kind of like a pan synth thing, a lot of kind of background ambience, and even the drum beat changed through the song. So I thought it was a much better crafted track musically. There was the chorus was more of a sung chorus, which I thought was good, as opposed to the refrain on track 1 that I didn't like. And I mean, even though I hate the dude's name, fair play, Lil Baby fucking killed this track. I thought his flow was insane, and it just got like more intense as the track went on to the end, where I'm like, is this motherfucker gonna breathe? Like I thought he stole the show over Drake on this track. So guys, what do you, Dennis, what's your overall thoughts? You like the Lil Baby feature?
Lil Baby took it, yeah. One other thing I really liked was the auto-tune effect, just the subtle auto-tune effect on Lil Baby's voice, and I think it was an artistic choice because it sounds similar to like sort of the T-Pain. It's subtle as well, so it's not like to the level of T-Pain, like old T-Pain. You can just hear those artifacts slightly in there.
Yeah, for me, it was kind of, I know we already mentioned, but it was kind of like Lil Wayne or Future, that kind of how they do it. But it didn't necessarily detract from the track, especially when he's like, his flow is so like intense. Yeah, it's quite cool.
Definitely, totally blew him out of the water, blew Drake out of the water. And sort of Drake's bits, this is my favorite track, just because it's not as boring as the other two. So, like Jack was saying, in What's Next, he basically wrote one line, one flow, and then just copy pasted all the way through.
Yeah.
And Lemon and Pepper Freestyle, oh my God, it felt like pulling teeth. It's just the same
6 minutes, 6.5 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, over and over again. And I guess, I don't know, if kind of like, Tyler can probably get away with stuff like this because he's got this sort of like cult of personality around him and people want to follow what he does. And people want to follow where he is in life. I'm not sure if Drake has the same sort of cult of personality. I'm sure he does.
Does he have a personality?
I mean, he literally, just like Tyler, he talks about his dad a lot. Like, if you go to, I think on this track, no, it's not on this track. There's a track, I think it's sort of Take Care, where it's like, I send a child support, she sends me a smiley emoticon.
That's on this EP. I can't remember which track. It might be the last track, but yeah. Well, I mean, the last track is where he goes the most in depth and gives you backstory. The first two tracks are a bit just kind of like doesn't seem there's much content, but the last track's more of a kind of the come up type, bars. But
the point I was going to make is in that he references his dad, like he says something like, still waiting on child support from my dad since 1991 or something like that. And he talks about his dad, like even off of Nothing Was the Same, I think he mentions something about like, when my dad put down the bottle, he's kind of cool. We still had a couple of Ronas, something like that. So it is literally just like Tyler. He's working through his feelings like around his family, around etc. On albums.
But so this track did it for you then, kind of short and sweet, a bit more variety. This was your favorite.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but again, it kind of, because I'm not the biggest Drake fan, and because Take Care was the album that I listened to the most, which had tons of features.
Right.
I was like, can this guy really like hold up an album on his own? Maybe if I listened to Nothing Was the Same a bit more, then I'd get a bit more of a confidence that he could hold up an album by himself. But for the moment, I'm not fully convinced, because he just always, like Jack says, he just always pushes these features. He just doesn't say no.
He's like the anti-Andre 3000.
Well, Jack, what's your thoughts on Wants and Needs?
I agree with you. This is why I was trying to work out if it was the same baby as before, because I thought about it, and he killed the verse on this, and I was thinking back, and I was like, wasn't he a shit rapper? Like, didn't we go through like why how has he managed to flip it in like 3 months, and he's come out with this shit where he's actually like saying something with a good rhythm and all this, but like he destroyed Drake on this track for me. I actually preferred Lemon Pepper. We'll get into that in a second, but this was definitely a like 3-2-1 upscale as you get through the EP for me. But again, this like part of what was good about Lemon Pepper is that it's almost mostly that it's lacking what brings the other tracks down for me, rather than the fact that Lemon Pepper is like a standout amazing track. But yeah, this has got the like that same like repetition, like you said. It's just the hook. I get that it's meant to be a hook and it's meant to be catchy, but dear God, there's a line. Dude's like, sins. I got sins on my mind. Yeah, M's. Yeah, I got M's on my mind. Friends. Yeah, I got friends on my mind. It's like rap for kids in kindergarten. Like, right. You can say the line once and I get it. Do you know what I mean? I don't need it repeated twice in one line and then repeated twice in a chorus with 2 repetitions of the chorus. Like,
I guess when you've got the outlook of it being like padding, but someone else would be like, oh, this is like anthemic, I want to be like singing this at a show.
Yeah, I was going to say, that sort of shit live, where you got 5,000 people around you at a festival or whatever, that would hit. But like breaking it down to actual like musical content, it's that sort of stuff is, I consider it weak for this genre specifically.
Sure. For
like the hip hop was more R&B sort of stuff, because I know for a fact they hit some copy and paste shit in Logic to make that happen. There's no like thought has gone into it. There's no extra double tracking they did the second time around. They've not Jacob Colliered it where it's gone up half a semitone for the final chorus. Like they've not had those thoughts about it.
Right. It's just musically more simple. I get you. Okay, well let's move on to the last track, Lemon Pepper Freestyle. So we've all already touched on it a little bit. Now for me, this is probably the standout track of the album. So I don't know if you said the same thing, Jack, but 3-2-1, the album or the EP built in terms of quality, peaking with this. So I mean, for me, this is just instrumental. This is the kind of instrumental that I would say I prefer generally over the others, and I think it fits Drake the most of the kind of slow, soulful vibe with the female vocal sample that goes in and out. I think this is Drake at his element over this type of beat. I think Rick Ross was decent. I mean, to me, Rick Ross always sounds the same and has the exact same flow on every track. And he had the same thing here.
He's a tone rapper, isn't
it? Yeah, but it fits. This instrumental fits him, and he sounds like a cool motherfucker. So he didn't do anything to impress me, but he worked well on it. But I do think this is to refute the point you made at the beginning. I do think Drake screwed him on this track. But not necessarily in terms of lyrical quality.
Ordering?
With ordering. No. So the fact Rick Ross, he did 8-16 bars, whatever, and then Drake did 32 bars. I think he fucked him by doing like a 4 times as long verse, and I think it's cool.
That made me like Drake's less though.
What, like because it went on and on?
Yeah, I was like, do you know what I mean? Like, what would have been sick? Like, we've spoke about this before when we were talking about Outkast and how some other people have done this a little bit, like Run the Jewels and stuff like that. But what would have been sick? Halfway through Drake's whatever, halfway through his time, I was waiting for someone else to come back in. Do you know what I mean? If he got Rick Ross and someone else, and the second feature drops in partway through, or just Rick Ross comes back.
Yeah,
or
I agree.
like it doesn't need to be a chorus or anything like that. Continue to be a verse. Like I really appreciated that it wasn't a cookie cutter kind of pop song structure, but with hip hop and R&B elements. I liked that it was verse heavy and that it was actual rapping. But he was just on and on and on and on.
Yeah, because there wasn't even really a hook. It was literally like he would pause at the end of a verse. The vocal sample would be introduced, and then it would be filtered out to the background again, and he'd come in again. So it's almost like he did verse 2, 3, and 4. But I liked it. I thought it was probably some of his best bars, and it worked well with the sound. But Dennis, what about you? What did you think of this one?
I could kind of get behind the lyrical content. It sounded like he was singing about, rapping about what he's going through right now, what's on his mind. Kind of that's kind of what you expect from a freestyle, but I just found it so repetitive, find it so boring. And you mentioned that the beat was great. The beat was actually, now that I'm listening to it again, the beat is great. It's got a nice kick drum sound to it. It's not too, doesn't kick you in the face like a lot of poppy kick drums do nowadays. It's just sort of it's a nice hip hop beat, to be honest, to freestyle over. Rick Ross is pretty good on it. Not the biggest Rick Ross fan. I've heard Hustlin'. And everything else, like
the AC/DC of the rap world.
I was going to say you've heard Hustlin', you've heard Rick Ross, that's
basically and that song 9/11, like if I die I'm gonna go to heaven in my 9/11.
That's what he does. It's like I've always thought of him as kind of like there's him and another rapper that I think of like this, but they're kind of like the Barry Whites of rap. You know what I mean? Well, like there's like Barry White had a good voice, but it was the tone of his voice more than anything else. Like no one sounds like Barry White. Like Rick Ross, literally the motherfucker just talks, but it's because he just sounds fucking godly with 100%. That tone. Yeah.
Right, he can put a low effort performance in for his entire career, and it just because his voice sounds good, he can get away with it type thing. Yeah,
he's never gonna be a goat.
Right, he's never going to have the verse of the song. He will just fit it. Yeah.
But still, I think, like you say, he kind of outshone Drake in this, but I think it's just because at some point Drake just wore out his welcome. I mean, at the 4-minute mark, I'm just like, oh my God, I've got 2 minutes left of this.
You got the same feeling as Jack, basically. You kind of run out of, I mean, so there was one, there was a probably like the line of the album or the 2 lines of the album I quoted. So he has a couple of bars where he goes, this is Drake, where he goes, you just found the bottle with the messages. These days fame is disconnected from the excellence. Half the time I got to ask N-words what their profession is. Ushered a generation in, these are where my confessions live. Usher with the confessions of double entendre. I thought that was sick in particular. So I thought there were some bars on this. I thought there was, but I can see where you guys would get a bit bored with the extended verse.
Can we talk about Drake's voice for a second? I mean,
okay.
I'm not the biggest fan. I mean, I would like just a little bit of bass, but it sounds like he's the opposite side of the spectrum to Tyler. Like he's taken all the bass out of his voice. Right. Pure treble.
Yeah. No, I agree. It can get nasally and grating. It really depends. I guess on the beat it can work and it can't. It varies.
It made it harder to appreciate the bars because, I mean, on another level, I was also thinking that part of the reason why he was doing it was to appeal to his female fans. Because I don't know, maybe if he has less bass in his voice, he's less threatening, more approachable. I don't know.
I'd imagine it's a delivery where his kind of, he does kind of sound like that normally when I've seen him talk, but he's probably like overemphasizing those frequencies for a reason, like potentially what you're saying.
Yeah,
like just like Tyler, is going to make his voice as gruff as possible, right? Again, it's his natural talking voice, but he's going to emphasize that because he knows that's what works for him. Okay, so why don't we just wrap this up and get into our scores? Unless you guys have anything else particularly wanted to mention. No, all good.
Yeah.
Okay, so Yeah, so for me, score-wise, I'm going to say this is a mid-tier Drake effort. It's not great, but it's okay. I enjoyed it. I'll probably listen to it again. Again, factoring in the fact it's so short. So I'd give this a pat on the back ranking. I didn't mind it. Dennis, what about you? What's your?
I'm tempted to put. I didn't hate it. I thought like I said, that the not Wants and Needs, but the second track,
Wants and Needs with Lil Baby.
Yeah, not What's Next. Wants and Needs. I thought Wants and Needs was all right. I thought What's Next had a decent hook. I can imagine myself in the O2 in a crowd of 10,000, really, really vibing to that. I'm sure that's probably what it was written for. Which interesting. I don't know. Like I said, where do we put Drake? Is he a pop artist? Does he get bumped in clubs, much like Hotline Bling and some of his and One Dance, etc.? Not sure. And what does this bode? These are just questions that are going through my mind. What does this say about the upcoming album? Is it going to be more anthemic sounds like this, or are there going to be some club bangers in there? I can't tell from this. I think
he's gonna release an R&B album because the album's called Certified Lover Boy. But I think my prediction is this is his like EP for people that want rap.
That's made me like him so much less.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
No, I think it's like a this is what do you call it? Like a help package? What are they called?
Like a cry for help.
Okay.
No, you know when someone this is a care package for rap fans because he's going to come out with like an album for the ladies. that's my assumption. Okay, so Dennis, what's your score on this? And I'll go to Jack.
Let me try. I'm going to put it on pat the back as well. I think. So okay. Jack, give us your take.
This is not as good as LW. This doesn't have songs that are as good as Slow Tie. It's not as good as Deftones. It's not as good as the extra tracks on Song Machine. It's hard to compare to Easter Bunny because they're so stylistically different, but that's probably its closest one in quality, which we've generally agreed is the bottom of Backpat. I would have put this Scratch CD. I think this is closer to Megan Thee Stallion, where like there's some standout verses and the beats are acceptable. They're pretty good, but then like there's nothing that's made me go, oh shit, this is dank. Like I went into this not a Drake fan. I'm still not a Drake fan, but I didn't hate it as much as I thought I would. It in no way inspired me to go and look at his other stuff.
I wouldn't say this is as bad as Megan Thee Stallion, because my number one gripe with Megan Thee Stallion is she had a lot of technical ability. She knew how to rap. She had a really good flow, but it wasn't really directed anywhere. Whereas I feel that this is directed somewhere. He's got a message. He's trying to speak.
There's like six of one, half a dozen of the other in it, because like she's got more rapping ability than Drake demonstrates on this album. She's got better flows than he does. She's talking about more shit. She's talking about less, meaningful stuff.
Here's the thing: that album kind of wore its welcome, and there wasn't enough quality. Like, luckily with this, because it's an EP, it's 3 tracks, it's really short. It doesn't wear its welcome. If there was songs of this quality stretched along 15 tracks, then I probably would have bumped it lower. And I hope that whatever he releases next has more variety. But I think because it's an EP, it's.
But I think looking at it in isolation like that, do you know what I mean? Like, he's released 3 tracks, but he's chosen to release these 3 tracks.
Right.
Like, name the track now that's going to go on your top 10 of the year from this, or something that's even a contender for something you've listened to since January.
I suppose when we look at things, I try to review things in a vacuum. I'm not looking at the albums we've done before. I will literally say how did I enjoy this album on its own. I can't compare it to an album in a genre like LW. It's just impossible for me to give it a parity ranking.
So it's not really fair to compare it to that.
I guess that's more about like artist specific stuff though, because like if it was Tyler, if you're comparing like how he's twisting the generally accepted confines of his genre versus how KGLW are twisting the generally accepted confines of theirs. Like there's a lot of comparison, even though the material is very different. I think it's just because like Drake is very mainstream. He fits a comparison with someone like Megan Thee Stallion more than with KGL.
Well, so okay, so I look at this album. I could probably say tracks 2 and 3 I will definitely re-listen multiple times. So that's a good batting average for a 3-track EP. With Megan Thee Stallion, which I agree is more comparable, that album it's probably half a dozen tracks that I would still enjoy and re-listen to. But because that album's so long, that's a low average, which is why I think this is probably a better overall project. But yeah, if this was longer, then yes, maybe it would get pulled down without raising the bar.
I'll probably come back to Lemon Pepper Freestyle just because, like you say, Hattie, there are bars in there, and I probably want to, just listen in and see if anything sort of sticks out on further listens.
Okay, well,
way back in the day, we asterisked Easter Bunny. Can I put this in Backpat and asterisk it as well? Not just for my objection, but also because it's a 3-track EP, and we've put it on there comparing it to 10 to 15 track albums.
Yeah, well, maybe we should do an EP chart, a separate EP chart. I think that might be fair because you're right. It isn't directly fair comparing EPs to full projects.
I think if you copy and paste songs of this quality to make a 9-track album, you've got 3 good tracks over 9 tracks, which is a bad batting average, and then 3 okay tracks.
Because you only liked 1 track, or you.
Yeah. Sorry. So if we take like track 1 was bad, track 2 was okay, and track 3 was like decent but not amazing.
Yeah.
If that's the standard we accept up to 10 tracks, then we've got like.
I personally didn't think track 1 was bad. It was just the weakest of the lot, but it was completely listenable for me. Just maybe a bit repetitive. So obviously, I know you're less hot. I mean, look, between us, it's a low Backpat, right? That's where it would come. But I'm happy for you to asterisk. Or put it on a separate list for EPs.
So let's asterisk it with and try to remember that we asterisked it for a different reason than we asterisked Easter Bunny.
I don't remember why we asterisked Easter Bunny.
I think it was because this is like if you're into bungle and you're into like thrash, it's more of a stylistic thing. It wasn't quite a bungle album.
Yeah, well, if you're a bungle fan, it's a bad album.
Exactly. If you're a thrash fan, you're going to love it. Yeah. Which I wasn't, right? All right. So, I mean, so that does it for Drake Review. I mean, I'm definitely going to check out the album when it comes. I'm sure we'll review it much to Jack's chagrin, but it will happen.
I was more impressed with this. Like previously, if you'd asked me about Drake, he would have been a ribbon artist for sure. But yeah, like this was better than other stuff.
Okay, so you're mildly curious now, a tad.
I'm a bit more positive than that. I mean, this made me dig into some of his older stuff, and like I said, Lemon Pepper Freestyle there, has had a bit that called back to some of the themes about his dad, etc. So it's made me want to listen to some of his other tracks. So this has got me
done its job.
It's elevated Drake in my mind.
Yeah,
I'll give him more of a chance.
The key thing to take away, and we'll wrap this up, is don't listen to your brother's Drake opinions. That's
I'm not going to go back to Views. Yeah.
The problem with the Views, and I say that from someone again, a casual Drake fan for a long time, is that Views was so hyped. So I know Dennis, you've made this analogy before, but Views was like the cyberpunk of hip hop albums. It was hyped for so long, and it hadn't got it got delayed or whatever, and then when it came out, it was generally average. Considered like meh, so it was a big thing. Let's wrap this up. So so we've been the Record Players. Thanks for watching. Hit like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter at TRP_pod. We're also on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, all the like. So I've been Hattie with Jack and Dennis. Peace.